Yeah.
All right. All right. First off, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with the Hype Magazine tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
And to get started, can you tell the fans and listeners who you are and where you're from?
Young Squalla, Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, H-Time.
Do you think being from Southwest Texas, H-Town, made it harder for you or easier for you to get into the music industry?
I guess it depends on how you look at it,
Okay.
because of course, being from, certain areas or whatever, as we all know, everything's already just harder for you, But as far as making music goes, I honestly think it was a blessing because we just had, I don't know, I want to say it's something in the water that just made, like just bred like some special individuals coming out of that place.
Dope. Now, when did you get started pursuing music as your career, and what was it that got you interested in the first place?
Uh, Man, I feel like I've just been in love with music like my whole life, especially rap music. Like my parents just always were listening to music and playing a lot of music, so I always just loved it, and I always wanted to like, I don't know, I just thought rappers. As a kid, I just always thought like rappers were like the coolest people in the
Right.
world. Like just seeing certain people, I just thought it was so dope. So I always kind of wanted to be in that space, but as far as like pursuing it in real time and like really wanting to like make something of it, I would say, man, like I'd say like it's so many, I don't know. It's hard to say because like I've had so many different chapters in my career,
Yeah.
and it's like it's taken so many it's taken life in so many different spaces like just throughout. But I would say seriously, when like I would say I started calling myself a rapper for real, I would say 2015, around
Okay.
2015, 2016, when I dropped my first like official project. But honestly, I can't downplay anything that I did before that
Yeah.
because we was grinding before that. So I say I've been pursuing this for pretty much my whole life.
Okay. Now, when before you took it serious, we'll get into that in a second. But I want to highlight when you're just starting out, like being in Houston. Did you have any connections to anybody with studios, producers, or how did you kind of build your network to get started in the first place?
Well, yes and no, because like I kind of already had a network just from like people that I knew, like in the streets and like family and friends and things like that. So that's kind of where it started. But I actually began to build my buzz initially off of like battle rapping. I
Oh, fire.
started like, yeah, this is like, back in like the Smack DVD era and things like that. And we
Okay.
started
Yeah.
battling things like, and I started, just doing battles around like at school or in the neighborhood and things like that. And my name just kind of started picking up. And even then, I still wasn't like making songs, like, recording songs really. It wasn't until later on, like several years later, where like me and my boy Beezy, we started making songs together, and we were like, we just decided like we just wanted to make some music, and we
Yep.
started getting into the studios. And this one we were getting into like little, I don't know if I can curse, but we were
There you
getting
go. Go
into
ahead.
like little crappy studios. Oh, look, like spending $15 an hour,
Yeah.
$10 an hour to record, sounded like shit, but we were making it happen. And it just evolved over time. And like I said, it was just so many stages that I had to go through, that we had to go through, me and everybody who was a part of this journey. And yeah, it's been great.
Now, with you starting as a battle rapper at first, do you think having to build your schemes and the intention to lyricism and punchlines and battle rap helped you when you did start making songs and creating all these amazing songs you have for your fans?
100%. Like I still watch battle raps to this day. Like
Okay.
even though I don't battle anymore, I still watch all of that shit. Like
Yeah.
all the URL and fucking I don't know, who do I like right now? Damn, what's his name? From New Jersey Twerk. That's like my
Yep.
favorite battle rapper right now.
Fire.
All those guys, Tay Rock, Geechee Gotti, like everybody, from back in the old day, like I said, watching people like Murder Mook and T-Rex and Loaded Lux and all those people. Kaboom was one of my favorite battle rappers from Philly back in the day. You know, like I was really into that, and I still am. So like, yeah, I would definitely say it helps me a lot. Like even though, like I said, I don't make battle raps. Like
Yep.
I honestly feel like those guys are some of the most creative, like lyrically creative, rappers still, even though like, they're not rapping on beats or anything like. And so for me, I find a way to like implement that into the music that I'm making.
Okay. Now, when you make the shift from being a battle rapper, you said you and Beezy, you guys decided to start making songs. What is your process, and was it a difficult thing going from battle rap to actually being an artist that's making songs with hooks and bridges and all the stuff that goes into making a song?
Um, I would say for me, it might have been like a tougher transition, just because like I came in like just straight rap bars, like that
Yeah.
was all. Like if you hear all my first music, it was just every track would be like 3-4 minutes of me just rapping bars over a beat, no concept, no hook or anything. But with Beezy, he was always more of like a musician, and he grew up in a musical family, so like he always had like the song structures to start with, and I kind of just just filled in the blanks. And but over time I learned just to like and it came with repetition, and just being in the studio and working at it, and realizing that like I can't just be a good rapper. Like I
Yeah.
gotta know how to make some songs.
Yeah.
So like with that, over time I just kind of learned how to, just structure these songs, and even just taking notes from like my favorite artists,
Yeah.
like people like The Dream and Future and shit, Michael Jackson. Like these are people that I listen to like all the time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like and this is like things I, of course I listen to a lot of rap, but like outside of, I also like spend a lot of time intentionally not listening to rap,
Okay. Yeah.
because I feel like, and I might be tooting my own horn, but personally I feel like as far as just rapping, I've kind of like mastered that craft. So
Yeah.
like when it comes to like trying to like learn new things and soak in more knowledge and energy and whatnot, I kind of lean more towards like the R&B and the pop music and things like that.
That's fair. Now, you where was the first place you went outside of Houston? Like you said, when you're coming up, you start making songs, so you had to have a hit or something that took off for you. Where was the first place you performed outside of Houston?
Oh shit. Damn. That's a great question. First place I performed outside of Houston, I would have to say it was probably Austin, South by
Ah,
Southwest.
South by Southwest, dope.
Yeah. Yeah, which is actually I think going on right now.
I was just about to say. So, are you going to South by Southwest this year? I think it starts today through the rest of the week. Is there any plans for going out
Yeah.
there?
No, I do not have any plans to be out there this year.
Yeah,
Only because like I already had like put off, I'm supposed to be going back on tour like next week.
I saw that.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, in like a couple weeks, I think. But we put that off, because I just wanted to focus a little more.
yeah,
And actually, we were supposed to be going back on tour last fall, but we just been like, just giving it more time, because I wanted to spend more time focusing on like, well, for one, myself as a human, and
yeah,
getting those things together. Because when you spend a lot of time doing all this stuff and running around, it's easy to get just kind of like, I don't want to say lost in it, but just lost in yourself. So you got to take some time to like just kind of dial back and reset, and get yourself together as a person. And
yeah,
so that's, I've been taking that time for that. But so to answer your question, no, not South by Southwest. Initially, because we were supposed to be going back on tour this month,
okay.
but we pushed it back one more time to next fall, so we'll be back on tour next fall. But yeah, no South by Southwest. I've actually like I haven't been doing any shows, any performances, anything. I've really just been locking in on like, just getting my thing together, as far as just making sure we have everything together on the base level with the music before we put anything out, and making sure I have a lot of music, because last year, I was on the road like almost pretty much the majority of the year. So it
Yeah.
was I didn't make as much music as I would have liked to, or as I like to normally. So now, now I got my I set my studio up, and now I got it mobile, so wherever we go, it's going down.
No. And a lot of times, I mean, South by Southwest is a great place to go to when you're on the rise, when you're trying to figure something out, when you need to meet a connection or something like that. But you got Schweinbeck. So you're already in the game. You already got the Rolodex. Like there's nobody you can't get with. How did you and her meet up? And what was it about her that made you want to collaborate and, join the team?
Um It actually was, she does these mixers when
Yeah.
she has like, different artists come perform. She'll have like, maybe a couple of major artists, and then she'll have like some upcoming artists from whatever city it's in. And, it's always been like, pretty much like a big deal for a long time. Well, at least,
Yep.
from the time I've known her, and, from what I know before that also. And I actually met her at one of those performing with one of my friends. Shout out to Fresh. I was performing with Fresh. He was performing there, and we had a song that we had together, and he like had me come perform with him, and we
Fire.
did that. And then after that, me and her ended up like connecting. And then honestly, it wasn't even just then. It wasn't until afterwards where we linked up again. It was another show that I actually ended up performing at, and I think that she was involved with,
And
and
she
we
recognized you.
connected from
Yeah.
them. Yeah, and then we just kind of had, living in LA, it's all everything's so social, and things like that. So but at the same time, nobody fucks with anybody,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know. So everybody kind of got there. It's kind of like it's almost like fraternities or sororities or whatever. But being out here, there is all gender equality, so it's a fraternity sorority. It's all one. So everybody kind of like links up in groups. So we kind of ended up just being in the same, like, just kind of being around each other all the time, and
Wow.
we're living in the same area. So we kind of started kicking it a lot.
Okay.
And like, it's funny because like it was like a group of us that would always hang out and whatnot. And we kind of all were, just people that were in the music industry and things like that, or anything that's just on the same frequency. And then like, but me and her kind of got closer because we were the only like the ones like the stoners, So we
There
always
you go. Yep.
we
Yeah.
always
Cheat
would end
code.
up we would end up smoking together and shit like that. So we always start kicking it, and then like eventually, I was doing my thing, she was doing her thing, and she was like, you should come to Sync, where she
Yeah.
was at, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And then that ended up happening, and then eventually it became to like, you know what? I was like, man, you probably should be my manager.
There you go.
And at the time though,
Nope.
um she wasn't open to taking any more clients. Like, and she was real adamant about it too. That's why for a long time I never even asked about it. Well, it hadn't even really crossed my mind for a while. But after some point, I'm like, man, we always hanging out, and we kind of like work together already. Like, won't you
Yeah.
be
It
my
just makes
manager?
sense. Yeah.
So it kind of happened like that, and then yeah, it's been history ever since.
So that's really dope to me. So I want to highlight. So you meet her because your friend has got this opportunity, and he says, "Hey, come, perform with me." How did you make an impression? Because a lot of times, the people who are there looking at these events like that, they focus on the main person or the headliner. And I mean, so what did you do? You think that grabbed her attention, and then you said you kind of just kept crossing paths. How did you reach out to her to keep getting those shows, or just God kept putting you guys together in the same rooms and then manifested what we got today?
Well, I can say first and foremost, everything is God.
Yeah.
Like everything that happened was all God's planning. Like we couldn't have
Amazing.
planned it or thought it out. Like I never. And I tell her, like it's funny because, like as big as she is, like all right, because me, I'm not like really. I'm never on like social media and things like that. Like I kind of like stay in my own little bubble.
Okay.
So I'm not like, and I'm getting better with it. Because I know I have to. This is just the day we live in now.
Yeah.
But I never really like am too like hip or aware of like who's and things like that. So like I didn't even really know um
She was
Like,
who she was. Yeah.
yes, like I knew of the name, but I didn't know like the gravity of, you
Yep.
know what I mean, like all the work she's put in and just like what she's actually built. So at the time, it was just like, yeah, she's cool, you know what I mean, like, and I like what she was putting together. Like from what I had seen
Yep.
already, I thought it was dope because a lot of people don't do that, you know. But it's just like it's funny because like now Diana is really like my best friend. You
Yeah.
know, it's really
Yeah.
crazy. Like we've grown so close over the years, just just being in this space because the industry is already crazy.
Yep.
Being in Hollywood is already crazy. So having to deal with the mixture of both is like it's insane. So like being able to have somebody or have people around you that can keep you in the right space
Yep.
is very
Right.
important. So I feel like over time, like we developed more of a like a personal relationship as well as a professional relationship, which are equally as important, or depending on how you look at it, one could be more important than the
Yeah.
other.
I was gonna
But
say, can you speak to that a little bit? Because I do believe if somebody's gonna be your manager or there's gonna be that kind of relationship, there has to be a real love for each other. Like it can't just be a business situation. So how important is it to you that Diana is your friend and she just so happens to be this dope manager that's got all these opportunities, but she has your best interest because you guys are friends?
well, I would say it's imperative because like and I wouldn't say like it couldn't work otherwise, but I know like the importance of, and I feel like this is the case in any business period. Like when the personal relationship is stronger, that just makes it makes everything
Yeah.
better. So like, and like I said, with me and her, honestly, if we hadn't like just spent so much time kicking it and just hanging with each other and realizing like, yo, I fuck with this person, it's like I feel like she probably wouldn't have even became my manager.
Mm.
Because like one thing about that, and it kind of works both ways. Like I said, with her, she wasn't even like looking to find any other artists, but it
Yeah.
had to be something that she saw in me that was like, all right,
Facts.
I really believe in this person, and like I don't feel like it's gonna be a waste of my time or my energy, and vice versa. Like for me, like as an artist, it's like, yo, I'm putting this I'm giving this thing to you. I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
putting the ball in your court. So
Yep.
like, it has to be a mutual not only respect but also like just a belief in one
Yeah.
another. You know.
What made you go to LA in the first place? You said that you ended up in LA, and you've been there, but what brought you to LA in the first place?
Um just moving around, like
Okay.
I honestly like always knew that I wanted to move out of Houston for some reason. And there's, I love Houston. Like still, when I go home, it's a great time. Like I still tell people that's one of the best places in the world. It's
Facts.
like there's no place like Houston.
Yeah.
No place like home. you know.
Yeah.
But for me, I just always felt like I wanted to do things. I wanted to do things that I felt like weren't really available to me in the city at the
Right.
moment.
Right.
I know now I've been in California for 8 years now, so things have changed. And
Yep.
Houston has grown as an industry, and just as far as entertainment, it's grown over the years. But at the time, I just felt like I needed to like move around, especially because the sound and the style that I was coming with wasn't really like traditional Houston,
Yep.
and I understood that. So, and when I started like to travel, I would go to Atlanta and I would go to LA, and I would just kind of rotate and go to other places here and there, but it was Atlanta, LA, like almost every month, like just kind of rotated. And I almost moved to Atlanta,
Okay.
but it was something about California. I was like, nah, this
California
is it.
dreaming. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my friends like convinced me like, you got to come out here, bro. He was just like, you got to come out here. And it's funny. I'm gonna tell a story. Like I don't want to name drop, so I'm just gonna keep the names anonymous. But I was with a friend at a a very famous person's house, and
Okay.
it was just a great time. And he's still the homie, but like it was a great time. But the next day I was back at home at the trap, and
Yeah.
they called me. You know, my friend and the more famous friend. They're both famous friends, but the more
Yeah, the
they
more
called
famous
me
one.
and they were like, they were like, man, you have me. I was like, man, I'm back at the crib. They were like, ah, hell nah. And I'm just looking at my background. I'm looking at their background, and that was just like it just hit me like it's like a haymaker. I was like, all right, and bro was like, yeah, bro, you gotta get up out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta relocate. So that was like that was like the big force that kind of pushed me to that direction.
That's amazing. Now you got the dope merchandise. I see it, Junkies. What was the motivation behind creating that line, and what's the response been so far from your fans?
Oh, thank you. Honestly, the Junkies line it's like my baby. We've been working on this for like a while. We've been like just doing samples and
Okay.
working with different graphics and designers and just doing different things over the years. Just trying to get it right. And honestly, we haven't I would say we haven't officially launched it yet because when we
Oh,
did do our first launch it was just for the tour, so that was pretty much like just tour merch.
okay.
But we have like our actual official launch. It was coming, I would say, next month, for the spring, and we got some super dope shit, and
Dope.
I'm super excited about it. But yeah, the Junkies, the whole idea of it, man, is just like, you know, I'm somebody that like one of my biggest messages of like what I do or even my whole purpose is like I want people to just be themselves,
Yep.
and be comfortable being themselves and be confident in themselves, regardless of what anybody else makes you feel, And like I go to the gym, I work out and all that, but like I feel like the world, because you know how like propaganda and all that
Yeah.
thing, all those things like move people in a certain direction. I feel like over these past few years, people have gotten like bullied into like trying to be healthy.
Yeah. Facts.
you
You can't have
you
junk
know,
food no more.
yeah, we like they bully people that like we don't even eat McDonald's anymore. What's going on? I'm still eating McDonald's. I don't care. And this is something.
Yeah.
This is that I'm like, and this was thing with me. Like, I still love junk food. I still like to eat. Like I said, I still eat McDonald's. I'm still eat some pizza, some donuts. I love all that shit. Like of course, take care of your body. And for me, this is the what I preach as far as like finding the balance. Like, work out. God damn it.
Yeah. Facts.
You can eat almost whatever you want, but just make sure you balance it out somehow.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my message. I'm like, listen, and that's the whole junkies thing. It's like, of course, when you think of junkie, you think about drugs, but for
Yeah.
me, everything is drugs. It could be food, it could be actual, narcotics or whatever. It could be love, it can be anything. Like, so there are so many different things as humans that we get hooked on or like can't we live without. Like, everybody has their vices,
Yeah.
so that was my thing with this whole brand was just like, we're all junkies somehow, but we
Yeah.
implemented the junk food into it somehow, just because we all like junk food.
Yeah, I think it's a dope concept. I see the images. You got hot dogs, you got ice cream, you got pizza. So it's really a dope concept. I know you went on tour last year to all the colleges. Can you highlight some of the colleges you went to, and what was it like having this tour in colleges, wearing your merchandise with these hit songs? Like, what the response you got from people?
Oh man, it was amazing. Like, one of the biggest blessings, like I say as an artist, it's one of the best feelings you can ever feel is just like seeing your music, like seeing people actually react to your music in real time. Because for me, like I'm really a performing artist. Like I make and a lot of songs when I make in the studio, I'm already thinking about like how it's gonna resonate on stage. So being able to go out there and like just feel the love and feel the energy. It's college, so the energy is
Yeah,
different.
a whole
These
nother level.
kids these kids don't play. They're drinking. It's funny because like I'll be at sound check at 4 or 5 p.m. I'll have a kid coming up to me like, Squalla, you better turn this shit up. I've been drinking since 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Because they tailgating and all that shit. Damn, I'm sorry, I don't want to put nobody out there like that. I don't
you
know.
good?
But like, but it's just the energy is amazing, and it's just it's a wonderful feeling, man. And I love it because as far as just making music, I feel like part of the reason why we do this, well, the main reason I feel like as an artist, in whether it's music, painting, or anything like any type of art you do, is not for you.
Yeah,
You know,
facts.
it's for the people. So like to be able to see somebody like actually appreciate it in real time, and that's how I'm able to even perform for 25, 30 minutes. Like I feed off their energy,
Yeah.
because if I didn't feel them feeling my energy, I would
Yep.
probably die down. But it's like it's almost like a like revolving doors, like with like a battery, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's super dope, man. And you know, I just I just really I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful to be able to even have that opportunity, and looking forward to the next one,
Yeah.
next semester. This fall is going down, and yeah, man, it's been dope, man. It's been a fun ride, and I love one thing I do love about tour is picking. It's because this whole thing is like a journey. It's a ride, and it's like
Yep.
we all just picking up more people along the way, just
Yep.
adding
Facts.
people to the caravan. So like I always tell people, I tell my manager, I tell everybody, like, if I only made one fan that night, that's
You're
okay.
happy. That's
That
amazing.
that's okay with me. Like if I made one person's night that night, it's okay with me. So like to be able to like, see the reaction, like kids come to me like, oh my God, that's the best show I ever had. Oh my God, this is the best night ever. Like things like that. You're the GOAT. Shit like that. Well, all right,
Yep.
that is kind of aggressive. I'm like, all right, I think you probably having a great time right now. I don't know if you really
Yep.
mean that, but they might mean it. But things like that are what keeps me going. Like when somebody tells me like, yo, you're my favorite artist ever. It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, ever? All right.
Yeah.
Well,
This is
let me go make some more shit for you then.
And see what's really dope about that is by doing the college crowds, they will grow as you grow. So when they get older, they're still going to be listening to you. You could still be touring, around the world, just going off of that college fan base. Shout out to Bob. I had the
That
privilege of seeing that too, and you kind of remind me a lot of Bob because you can tell you got punchlines. You got some of the best double entendres I've heard from that style of music you're
thank
in, but then you got that up tempo beat, the melodic flows and stuff like that. So I definitely see those comparisons for you. You did the NFL. The NFL picked up a song of yours,
you. Yeah.
"Speed of Light." So the "Speed of Light" song is an amazing song already. Crazy beat at the intro. You're killing it. When did you find out the NFL was interested in it, and what was the response the first time you got to hear it live?
Um. All right. First of all, wait. Before I answer that, I gotta go back a little bit to say to the Bob thing. I just want to say shout out to Bob. I actually did a show with Bob on the college tour. Yeah,
Oh,
that shit
last
was.
year?
Yeah.
Oh
We
yeah, we're
did.
speaking that into existence. Let's go,
Yeah,
Bob.
we did. Fuck, I want to say Auburn. We did Auburn together.
Okay.
It was stupid lit. Shout
Yeah.
out to him. Shout out to what's his name, TJ.
Yeah,
That's
TJ Chapman. Yep, the fam.
yeah. Shout out TJ. Like and like it. Like I said, like things like that are just like the dopest experiences to me because these are people that I've looked up to from
Yeah.
the beginning before I even decided I wanted to do this for real. And thank you for even that comparison is like that's super dope because like I said, like for me as an artist, I just want to be one of those people who can like I can turn you up, but I
Yeah.
can also like give you something like if you decide to listen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you something to listen to.
Yeah.
If you really want to hear some words. So thank you for that. But as far as the NFL thing, that shit I don't listen. I don't even know. I don't even really. I still can't like
Yeah.
really explain. Like I don't even have a real. I don't think I've had a real reaction to it yet because it's really
Okay.
like surreal.
Yep.
Because it's the NFL. And first of all, shout out to United Masters.
Yeah.
Shout out to the whole team there, Mod, everybody. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question because it was just like I just remember my manager telling me she had I don't even remember what was going on, but she was like, I gotta tell you something. I was like, I'm
Oh.
thinking it's some crazy shit. I'm like, what happened? She's like, just guess. what the fuck? How am I gonna guess this? She's like, just guess. And I'm like, I'm just guessing all the time. She's like, no, she's like, it's something you've been working towards. I was like, I don't know. I'm just throwing out a bunch of different things
Yeah.
that that I've been working on. And then after that wasn't I don't even know why that didn't come up in my bank, but I was just throwing shit out, freestyling. And she was like, no, the NFL just picked up one of your songs. I was like, what?
Amazing.
I was really like I was really shocked, more than anything in the beginning because I was like, "What do you mean?" You know,
Yeah.
what you
It's
mean?
hard to explain what that means, and when you get that call, what's your family, when they heard it? I'm sure they're at home watching the game, chilling, not even knowing what's going on, and they hear your voice or something. How they respond for you?
Well, you know what's crazy? The thing about it is, I don't even know if they've put it out yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
We got they just let us know that they've chosen it for the business or whatever, and like we haven't we don't even know what they using it for or what they use it for.
Ah,
But
okay.
when I did tell my family, it's funny because the first thing my sister said was, "Can I send this to my group chat?" I'm like, sure, I guess so. Because me, like I'm super private.
Yeah.
I'm a very private. I rarely post on Instagram. Like I'm not very, like I'm not active on social media. I don't like post on my story a lot. I don't watch stories. Like I'm just not on social media like that. So, anything that I have going on, like people are always gonna ask me before they post it, like, is it okay to post it? Because I
Okay.
don't really post. But yeah, my family was super excited. Like it was super dope. It's a great feeling. Like I said, with it's the NFL, man. Like
Yeah.
you grow up your whole life watching this. I was just playing Madden before this, like so it's dope, man.
Yeah, because if they pick it up for the NFL, it wouldn't be too far to be in a Madden game. I mean, it could be a continuation for it. Now, you mentioned United Masters. Congratulations on that situation.
Thank you.
How did you guys decide to start working with them? And let's clarify, you're not just signing up for United Masters like everybody else is, but no, you've got some real, skin in the game, as they say, with them. So what's your guys' relationship and how's it been working with them so far?
Well, for one, just want to say once again, God is great. It's been a blessing. It's a beautiful thing, and the way it came about, honestly, was I don't shit. I don't want to say too much about. Well, all right. So, fuck it. I wasn't really happy with my previous situation,
Okay.
and like for a while, and my manager was aware of that, and she knew that, and we also she had relationships with people over there, and well, like I said, man, I'm gonna say shout out to Ahmad again because he's the one that got us over there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the homie Ahmad. Um, we she just like presented the idea to me, United Masters. I'm talking to do if you want to, would you like to go? I'm like, hell yeah, because that was already something I had been like looking into.
Yeah.
Like I was already watching, like kind of watching United Masters, just seeing what they do, for independent artists and whatnot. But like with what you said, I didn't just go sign up. I didn't want to do it like that.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't do it. Like I didn't want to do it like that. I didn't want to just go make a profile and be like, all right, I didn't want to do it like that. No shade to anybody who has done it like that. You know what I'm saying? By all means, get it
Yeah.
going. But for me, I wanted to make sure we had more of a direct relationship and connection with them because I already knew, like I said, from my previous situation, just what I was getting and wasn't getting, and I knew what I was expecting. I wouldn't say demanding or requiring because nobody owes us anything, but I just knew like to take it to another level
Yeah.
what we would need, just a little more. So when that came about, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So, we linked up and, by the grace of God, like you said, with Speed of Light, with the NFL thing, that was literally 3 months after we signed.
Wow. Wow.
3 months after we signed with them. That was it was the second song we released with them.
Damn.
Song we released them. I gotta say shout out to Poe, shout out Poleo, shout out Pillowhead. Because we did that, we cooked that shit up and made it happen. And I just gotta tell you, I know you didn't ask, but I gotta tell you how it came about. We were watching the Olympics.
Okay.
We were watching the Olympics, and we were just in the studio, and I was like, man, I want to make something like for that, like something like for that
Yep.
movie. You know,
Yep.
like I want some. Let's cook up some Olympic vibes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where that came about. And if you listen to the song, you can hear it's just about
The
victory, about
sounds.
triumph. Yeah, and that's my thing, man. I just love the whole idea of victory and winning. It doesn't even have to be me. I love to see people win. Like I would literally shed a tear watching the draft, because I just love to see
Yeah.
people win. And
Yeah.
I don't even have to know you. I just want to see everybody win. So like that song, and I feel like when you put that type of energy into the universe, it gets rewarded. And that was just nothing that was nothing but God, because I never even thought, like, I never had a thought in my mind that that song would get chosen by the NFL of all things.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
and
so
it just is so amazing. Like you said, I love seeing people win as well. So when I see you with United Masters, I know Boss Man is over there killing it right now. But then my family, Toby, who's also from Houston. So you've got two of the biggest artists on the independent level behind, being backed by United Masters, and what they specialize in is what you just experienced. They got real relationships. So
yeah,
you're with the NFL without you having to do any legwork or any of that stuff. So that's really dope. You got a dope new single you're pushing, STFU. Amazing song, high energy, but like I said, the bars are amazing. What made you pick
thank you.
this as your single, and what's been the response so far from the DJs?
Man, first of all, shout out to Nails,
Yeah,
who made the beat, and the response has actually been beautiful, man. Like people really like it, and I try a lot of different sounds and I do a lot of different vibes, but I know for the most part, the people who like the people who like Squalla's music, they
yeah,
like some bars. Like when I'm
yeah.
just
Facts.
just going crazy, just like so I've gotten a really great response on that, and I don't even know if bro wants me to this to be known, but fuck it, that beat. I have to tell y'all this. Like I said, shout out to my boy Black Nails who made the beat. Um, that beat was originally made. He made it originally for Eminem.
Woo!
Yes. So like, and he told me that when we were in the studio, he almost was kind of like reluctant to give it to me. You know what I mean? Pause. But he was like, I was like, he was like, he was like, man, hey, this beat was really for M. I was like, he was like, and he
I'll
was
do
just
it
like,
justice.
you
Yeah,
bet, yeah. He was like, you bet. That mean you better go crazy. And I was like, damn. All right. So I actually had to take my time and like really like put these bars together, because I'm like,
yeah,
all right, this is an Eminem beat. I gotta go stupid on it. And he's actually produced for Eminem, got credits with him and things like that. So it's not like he
yeah. It
just was
wasn't.
gonna
Yeah, I got
send it to him. Yeah, it's like he really was gonna give it to him.
you. Wow.
So
Well, now
shout
we
out
gotta
to
get him on the
Nails.
remix though. Like shit, let's figure that one out.
Listen, that's another conversation we gonna have, my brother.
I know we clipping this up. I know you ain't on social media, so Diane's gonna get blowed up with a whole bunch of notifications, and it's gonna be like Eminem, Eminem. So, but now
Yeah,
that's really
let's
dope.
get Shady on the remix, y'all.
I love the song for you because, like I said, what was for me is this real high energy. It's got the cool vibe to it. But your bar game, there's one line that was like, "You can't see me with goggles on." Like it's just a lot of punchlines going through that. What goes through your mind as a lyricist like you are? Like I can tell you really truly care about your pen and doing that stuff. How do you balance the two when having a song that's fun and up tempo for your fans that are in the college? Versus for us old heads like me that love bars, how do you balance the two of those?
All right, I'm gonna just put it like this. I'm not gonna name everybody, but I'm gonna just tell you like this. Eminem is in my top five,
Okay.
and Future's in my top five.
Woo!
So
That's
when you put
dangerous.
exactly, that's a dangerous combination.
That's
So
dangerous.
when
Yeah.
it's funny, like when these hip hop heads, when you have these conversations with people, and when I say Future in my top five, they're like, "What?" Like, yeah. What do you mean? It's one of the best rappers ever,
Yeah, he is.
one of the greatest rappers ever.
He
And that's
goes
why
through a lot of stuff people don't know.
and for me, like my thing is like what makes a great rapper? What makes a great lyricist? It's the words, right? It's the cadences, it's everything like so for me, like I've always been like my thing is it's Uchi Wally and one mic.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we mixing the best of both worlds, and that's why like I'm a big fan of Kendrick. Like I love Section 80, like all those, like all the new shit also. Like and I'm also a fan of Drake.
Okay.
I'm also a
Can't
big
say
fan
that
of
in
Drake.
LA
Let's
too
put
loud
that
now.
out
Hold
there.
on. Hold on.
Let's put that out there too. I'm also a huge Drake fan. It's funny because both of those guys are like two people that I listen to often. Same with J. Cole, Wiz Khalifa, Nipsey, still
Yeah.
like all these people. And even when you take it, but like I said, like I'm also a big fan of the original hip hop. Like I'm a pull up. I listen to Nas all the time. I still listen to Mobb Deep, like all that shit. But I'm also gonna listen to Lil Uzi.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
fuck with all that shit. So, it's just like, and that's my thing. Like, my style comes from a mixture of everything. Like, it's like a gumbo of
Yeah.
like every style that I've ever learned. And even like I said, even outside of rap, like R&B, country music, country artists are some of the best writers in
Facts.
music. So like listening to and I've been dabbling into that sound recently.
We
So
got you gonna do some Shabuzi sampling or something like that.
I was trying. I mean, shit. If I, it would be nice to do a song with Shabuzi. Shout out to Shabuzi.
I think he's United Masters too, though, ain't he?
Oh yeah.
I'll have to check on that for you, but I think he is.
Oh, that'll be dope, man. That'll be dope to do some shit with Shabuzi. But like I'm a country boy already. Like I'm from Texas. My
Yeah.
mom was always listening to country music. Like growing up, my mom would be listening to fucking Garth Brooks and
Yeah.
Leanne Rhymes and shit like that. What's Reba and all that. So I kind of grew up listening to country music. Like I said, man, I just listen to everything. Like they gonna have R&B at the cookouts. It's
Yeah.
gonna be rap playing in the car. It's gonna be country music playing at home. And even like I'm Senegalese also, so listening to African music growing up is just a whole bunch of all of that.
Now I've seen you're also getting involved in comedy shows. You're doing stand up and stuff like that. So what's making you interested in that lane? And what's different about being an artist on stage performing for the crowds and thousands of people versus being a comedian?
Man, um, well, it's funny enough. I wanted to be a comedian before I wanted to be a rapper.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was young, that was like the first thing I wanted to do. Like as far as like being an entertainer, I wanted to do comedy. I just was like such a big fan of like like Martin Lawrence and
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy. People like that, Dave Chappelle, like all these people, like just Cat Williams, like all these people just like inspired me. And like what I love about comedy is you can really express yourself
Yeah.
without having to worry about, you know, people, especially in today's age, without having to worry about getting canceled or, people getting offended and things like that. You can act, because I love to joke. Like, I don't take anything seriously.
Yeah.
I love to joke about everything. Like, I joke all day. So, like, even if it's a serious situation, we're going to find some light in it and find some humor in it. And, that's why even my comedy is funny. It's kind of dark. I have like dark comedy. Like, it's one of those things, like I said, Chappelle's one of my favorite.
Okay.
Mike Epps is my favorite of all time, and his
Oh,
comedy,
fire. I'm from
like,
Naptown, so yeah, that's
funny.
family.
Yeah. Oh, shout out, shout out. Oh, you from Naptown?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. Shout out to the Nap. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, Mike Epps is my favorite comedian of all time. Dave
Okay.
Chappelle, Cat Williams. But one thing I love about comedy, and especially those guys and how they do it, people like Paul Mooney, like they're gonna like talk about like real things that are
Real
going
issues.
on, but
Yep.
make you laugh about it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that's like the purpose of life, man, to enjoy things. And that's why, like me being a comedian, like I said, as far as being an artist of any sort, it's not about you, it's about the people. So if I can make somebody laugh, I've done my service
Yeah.
to the world, So I love the comedy shit, man. And as far as like the comparison with that and rap, it's funny. I was talking to my brother. It's like a couple months ago. I was in Houston. Me and my brother was just chilling, talking. And he was just talking to me about the comedy and the rap. And I was telling him, I was like, it's crazy. Doing comedy is like 10 times harder than rapping.
Yeah.
And he was
Facts.
like, what? And he couldn't really fathom it. He's like, nah, what you mean? You when you rapping, you gotta be turned up on stage. I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
doing comedy is probably 100 times harder than rap
Yeah, you
because
can't anticipate the reaction. You can have the best joke ever, but if they don't like it, then what do you do? Like in
and then
performances, nobody cares. You just keep doing your song.
and you gotta pivot exactly
Yeah.
when you rap and you make exactly like you said, when you're doing music, it could be a crowd full of people who've never even heard of you. If your shit jamming, they
They
about to
rocking.
turn up.
Yeah.
Especially if they drunk, they gonna turn up.
Event.
Comedy it's like a reverse. If your shit is not even like if your shit is not anything past good,
They
if
don't
they're
want
drunk, it's gonna be even worse of a reaction.
Yeah.
you know, and I never want to get any tomatoes. I haven't gotten any yet, but I've done 3 sets I think so far, and it's been a wonderful reaction. Thank God, thank everybody. Shout out to the Comedy Chateau. They gave me a chance to do my thing. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's to me it's way harder than being a
Yeah.
rapper
I definitely
because
encourage you to keep that in your music though. Don't just put it on stage as a comedian, because you could do your own skits, or Ludacris is one of the most loved artists in the game, and he specialized in dope wordplay, but made you laugh about it. It doesn't always have to be serious. And I kind of heard that in some of your punchlines. Like I said, you said some dope punchlines, but they were to have fun with. It wasn't trying to, get any emotion out of you. We've highlighted a lot of your highlights that I could see from your career. What's one moment that stands out to you that I didn't mention tonight?
Well, one thing that you just said that I think people should know is Ludacris is one of my biggest influences.
Ah,
Like
dope. Yeah.
from the bars to even like if you watch my videos, the way I do my visuals, like just making everything funny and comedic, but still like lyrical.
Okay.
Ludacris is one of my biggest influences in music, like in everything.
So Ludacris, Eminem, and Bob comes together, and we get Squalla.
And you get Squalla and Wayne. Don't forget about Wayne.
Okay,
And
Wayne.
50
There you
Cent.
go.
And you get some 50 Cent too. Because 50 Cent is the reason I even wanted to be a rapper. I told him that. I told 50 Cent that he's the reason I wanted to rap.
It's amazing.
But oh wait, fuck. I just got sidetracked. What did you just ask me?
One of the highlights in your career I haven't mentioned yet. What's a moment that stands out to you?
Um Shit, that's a great question. It's been such a ride. It's been such a blessing just to be able to live a lot of these moments and be in these spaces with these different individuals and different spirits. Damn, I gotta think. Honestly, this is funny. It's it's really just a funny story
Okay.
that I just like. I don't know, and I tell people it all the time because I just think it's funny. Like Wiz Khalifa is an angel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start it off with that, but this is crazy because I just remember, and I tell this story to you because this was just one of the times that it just made me feel like, damn, I'm really like around some motherfuckers because this is one of the main people that I look up to.
Okay.
So like, we were in the studio and ended up going out to the club and shit. He performed somewhere at a club out here in LA, and we ended up going back to the studio, and like I'm wasted by this point. It's like it's all bad. So and we were at the studio at I'm not gonna say studio, but we were at the studio and I was like in the lobby,
Okay.
passed out, like on the couch, just done.
Done. Right.
Right? I was done. He came out. I don't even know how. And this is what I'm saying. Like the only reason I remember this is because God wanted me to remember this. He came out on the way out, like was like, "You good, bro?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Man pulled out of his pocket like a gold pouch out of his pocket full of joints and handed me one.
That's Wiz Khalifa. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
handed me a joint, and he was like, "Don't smoke this until you wake up tomorrow." I was like, "All right." And that's just something I'll never forget. And I love telling everybody that story because I just like to tell people that man's an angel. But the funniest part about that is recently I was at the video shoot. Fresh, shout out to Fresh.
Mm-hmm.
He had a video shoot recently with Wiz, and I was at the shoot, and I told Wiz, I was like, "Bro, I've been telling everybody this story for years, and I gotta tell you." And I started telling him. He was like, "I remember that."
That's dope. Now,
So yeah,
what do you like to do for fun? Like if you're not on this, comedy stage trying to make people laugh or, making music, what do you do for your downtime?
bro, I'm a nerd.
Okay.
All I do is like if I'm not recording, I'm playing video games. I'm either
All right.
playing college football currently, or 2K, or Madden, or Call of Duty, or
Okay.
some one game or the other, or on the Switch playing Mario Kart or golf or some shit. you know, but like yeah, I don't do too much. Like I'll go bowling, and I just
Mhm.
recently like got into golf.
Okay.
So like I'm I'm trying to get my swing right. I'm trying to get my swing right. I'm trying to get my birdies, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get my birdies and my eagles going.
Now we mentioned Diana Schweinbeck a few times. I know she's part of your team. Who are some of the other members of part of your team, and how important are they to what you're doing and all the dope stuff you got coming later in the future?
Man, honestly, I'm gonna say this is really crazy. The team is me and Diana Schweinbeck.
That's
Shout
it.
out, shout out, shout out, shout out to Big Schweinbeck, God damn it, because I really gotta give her flowers. I know she already smells them, but I gotta give her more if the garden couldn't get any bigger,
Yeah.
because she's one of the greatest motherfuckers in this music industry and
Right.
on this planet. And like I like just the work that she's put in, and just what she's been able to build on her own
Yeah.
as a
Phenomenal.
woman in this industry is really like it's really unheard of, and I feel like it doesn't get highlighted enough, or she doesn't get enough credit, or don't get paid enough for it, or something. I just know
Yeah.
she just got to get more for what she does, or what she's done for not only myself, but like
A
so
lot of
many
people.
other artists, and not only the artists that she manages, but just so many people that she's like, so many dots that she's connected, and people that she's put together with other people who can, or who have like changed their whole situation. And like I said, I feel like I honestly have like made it part of my personal mission, to make sure that when this shit's over with, she got everything that
Yeah.
she deserved and more,
Absolutely.
because she really goes that hard for everybody. And I see it. I see it all the time. And I personally feel like it's not appreciated enough. Like these motherfuckers, like, nah, they got my dog fucked up. Diana, hey,
they
you know,
start to expect greatness sometimes. When you do great things, she's done amazing things for people, and then they start to expect it. Like, no, I don't have to do this for you. I did it out of the goodness of my heart, and then realized you weren't accepting it.
yeah.
Last thing
And,
for you, what do you have to say to your fans and supporters before we get out of here?
man, thank you. Thank you. That's literally nothing else I can say. I'm not even gonna ask nobody to go listen to anything. Like, man, thank you, okay, for everything. Thanks for rocking with me. All the ups and the downs. This shit's been peaks and valleys. I know y'all already know, if you really know. Like, we still rocking. All this time, we still rocking, and we still going up more than anything. We still going up. So thank you. Thank God. Alhamdulillah. I know it's Ramadan. Shout out to everybody that's fasting right now. Um, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for, sharing your platform with me and
Yeah.
allowing me this space and this time. Um, like I said, thank United Masters.
Yeah.
Thank God to Diana. Thank her. Like, and above everything, thank God, man, for
Thanks.
everything.
Well, I appreciate your time tonight. Once we're done, I'm gonna go ahead and this will air next week, but I'm gonna post your video for you to let the DJs know it's out there. It's an amazing song, and I look forward to more music from you, man. You're a talented artist. Like I said, I can't wait to see the tour and everything else you got going on. We'll link up with Schweinbeck to let her know we break a lot of records where I'm from, so
Okay.
I got you, man. I'm gonna put it on
Hey, I'll come
for
out
those
there and
DJs.
fuck with you. I'll come out there and fuck with you too. I'm so ready to hop. I'm always ready to hop on the damn flight. So I'll
Sounds
come
good,
fuck
fam.
with you.
All right, man. Have a good night.
My man, thank you, brother.
Salute.